I think this is the stupidest deal. And I have to say that in the history of dumb media deals, it's very hard to sort of, pass them. AT&T's purchase of Time Warner in 2018 at the time appeared to be the world's dumbest deal. They ended up, of course, spinning that off. This is even stupider. In fact, this is such a stupid deal. I'm even beginning to wonder whether Netflix knows this deal will not get through, but they are just trying to screw up Paramount and delay Paramount's ability to actually buy Warner.
Okay, so I want to unpack all of those things and all those thoughts. Let's go to what they're actually agreeing to buy. What part of the business is this?
They're only buying the film studio, Warner Brothers. It's an iconic film studio, and they're buying the HBO Max streaming service. Those are the dual assets, but they're not buying the parts of the business that actually make the most money, which are the cable channels, which are declining. So that makes sense. Thank God for that. But the price they're paying is absolutely enormous. And the problem is, this is not going to add to anything. Almost everybody who can have Netflix has it already. Who is pay for Netflix now that you can get, HBO Max on it? They actually admitted this morning there's an awful lot of overlap between the two subscriber groups. So this doesn't give Netflix anything except debt and the need to spend the next 18 months negotiating with the government to try to get this deal approved. And I think in the end, it will get opposed and the thing will just, collapse. So I think it's a gigantic mistake.
So you don't think the deal will go through at all?
No. I don't think there's any chance that the government is going to allow the largest streaming service to buy one of the other very big streaming services, particularly as Paramount, which was competing to buy Warner, is close to the administration and will obviously do a very intense job in arguing why this deal should be opposed.
So on the call this morning, what is the putting aside the idea that maybe Netflix did this as a way to sort of stop the other companies from getting their hands on this property? What is the strategic rationale then that the executives are saying? And look, you look at the stock this morning. It's not like the stock has fallen off a cliff this morning for Netflix.
The stock had already fallen 15% in the last 6 weeks or so. So I think this is already expected. The strategic rationale that they gave was not really there. They said this would give consumers more choice, which makes no sense because consumers can already get all of this content. They just have to pay for both services. So how does that give them more choice? They said that this would create jobs, which is really a fascinating argument, given that they've already said they're going to cut costs. So this will actually destroy jobs. They really didn't say anything that actually made any logical sense. So that's why I'm beginning to think maybe this entire thing is just a fake effort to sort of delay Paramount. I do think that there's a defensive element to it. They wanted to prevent anyone else getting their hands on these assets because that might have affected them, because it might have, made somebody who's competing with them even more effective. But really, they're also just paying such a high price that I don't think it's worth it.
Right. So let's talk about why was Warner Brothers Discovery, why was it going up for sale in the first place? Talk us a little bit through the history here.
It's a long history. Time Warner was sold in 2018 to AT&T because the management at that time decided that they could see the writing on the wall. The company was predominantly the cable channel business, which is in decline. So they decided they would just exit. AT&T bought it. AT&T was obviously a disastrous buyer. They don't understand the entertainment industry. So after a few years, they decided to sell it. Discovery bought it. They understand the entertainment industry, but in buying it, they took on debt, a huge amount of debt, and they've had to spend the past 3 years cutting costs to try to make the deal work. And I think, and so far the stock has done really badly. So I think that people saw the opportunity to sort of move in, and this was sparked by Paramount, which is the Ellison family's company. They are trying to expand, and they made an offer which led the company to put the led the board to put the company on the market. But it seems that the board didn't want to sell to Paramount. I'm not sure why, but in any case, this is where we are now.
Right. And so now thinking about this, in the scenario here where you're saying the deal doesn't go through, I guess I'm trying to keep it open to a possibility that maybe it goes through, right? And then Netflix has to take on all this debt to fund this acquisition. Debt, of course, just like you pointed out, debt is the thing that dragged down a number of the media companies in the first place. I mean, 3-4 years from now, what happens? I mean, to the business that it's acquired.
Well, I think if the deal does go through, Netflix will then spend several years cutting. I think that they will raise prices. It will, I just think that we'll end up maybe in the same place that we are in now. They'll probably end up, I mean, I'm not sure. It's really hard to tell, but
Right.
I don't think this will be good for them in the end.
Great. Well, Martin, I want to thank you for coming on. And I know you just published a piece on this as well, which I encourage everyone to read. We will link it in the show notes. That is Martin Peers, the co-executive editor here at The Information.